The Soo I-500 is sponsored by AN Performance, the two-stroke power factory, and by Woody's Traction and Control Products. Combat proven for 25 years for safer snowmobiling. February 4th, Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, the Soo I-500 is truly a respected battlefield for the 600cc sled and driver. 500 miles in one day is truly a test of man and machine. Polaris Indies and XLTs have ruled here for the past 5 years and are the most dominant brand of the field today, with 20 of the 38 starting machines being Polaris. There are 10 Arctic Cat, 7 Skidoos, and 1 lone Yamaha VMAX 600. With the development of the new ZRT 600 and the Formula 3, this 27th annual Enduro should prove quite interesting. Jeff Kiffmiller is ready for it as he holds the fastest two-lap average speed of 94.33. This was set in last year's time trials, and Jeff will surely be one to watch here today. John Bosick is aboard a new ZRT 600. Brother Tom is riding an XCR 600, and they are very hard runners. Last year's winner, Ivan Hansen, on his new XCR will be defending his title today. Fellow Pro 5 rider Mike Stasek also sits on board an XCR along with number 57, Troy Pierce. Troy has been running here for years and is a true veteran of the ice wars. 1991 winner Todd Crickey is riding an XCR. Three-time winner John Wick is back on the AN XCR and sitting in the 35th starting position. Formula 1 racer Carl Schwartz is here on the fast-prepared Skidoo, along with a host of other big-name racers. Steve Houle, Rich Otterson, George Gerard, Fred Downing, and many more. This year's 500 saw 70 entries that attempted to qualify for a 38 sled starting field. Race chairman Gary Savoy orders them to mount up as the green flag will soon be aired out. Okay, here they come, 38 high-powered race sleds. Race director Steve Wilson looks them over. He likes them this time. He gives the signal for the green, and we're racing. 500 miles to go on this 1-mile ice oval track. Pole sitter Rick Zedell jumps out in front with the Skidoo. And number 21, Jeff Kiffmiller, on his Formula 3, holds his second place spot around corner 3 and 4. Zedell is actually riding a Mach-Z that has been downsized to a 600. This is the same sled Kiffmiller set the track record on last year. The sled is owned by Bob Benner, who is also the crew chief. These sleds are built similar to the Formula 3 class in the USSA sprint races like we saw at Eagle River. The main difference here at the Soo is the chassis have a lot more clearance or travel in the suspension. The closed oval course presents a constant obstacle due to tight corners. Also, as the race wears on, the track will form moguls similar to large speed bumps. By the 10th lap, Kiffmiller moved his Skidoo into first with Steve Mackey on the ZRT running second. Zedell drops back to third, John Bosick fourth, and Troy Pierce is now running fifth. By the 50th lap, Pierce had moved into second spot and Steve Houle took over third place. Nothing changed until the 70th lap when Kiffmiller took his sled into the pits for gas and a driver change. Pitting is a very important part of this race. An experienced crew is mandatory as race conditions like this don't exist anywhere else. Last year's race was run in 8 hours and 16 minutes, which is a long time considering these conditions. Not to mention the track goes yellow when an average of 3 track grooming sessions occur throughout the race. Lap 80 saw a new leader, number 57, Troy Pierce. Ivan Hansen worked his way through the pack, passing Pierce to claim first spot. Hansen and Pierce battled back and forth when Pierce took control of the race and didn't look back. Troy has raced here for years and has always been a perennial favorite. Although he's never won the race, he came close last year with a 4th place finish. Troy has teamed up with fellow Polaris racer Dana Payne. Dana is a seasoned oval and cross-country racer who is making his debut in the Soo, and he will be Pierce's co-driver. With 200 laps now in the record book, the Minnesota-based team of Troy Pierce and Dana Payne continued to hold the lead. Steve Houle is now knocking on their back door, riding second. Number 77, Tom Bosick, worked his way into third, with Hansen now running fourth. John Wick made his move on the field, riding past most everyone from 38th spot and now into fifth. This is the point of the day where a lot of sleds start dropping out. At least 10 sleds have scratched due to mechanical problems. This includes number 21, Jeff Kiffmiller, on the Formula 3.
Not good. Some internal. No.
Skis up?
Yeah, took a piston out.
Skis can be changed faster than a carbide, resulting in saving precious time. Number 45, Rick Zudell, comes in smoking. This doesn't look good for the Benner race team. Bob gets to work on the steaming Skidoo. The ZRT of Steve Hansen and Brian Sturgeon looks a little boiled dry, as this damage will push them out of this race. We asked Ray Monserud from Polaris Racing what he attributes Polaris's past success to.
Well, I gotta believe it's our front and rear suspension that's working so well for us. That the machines are really handling out there. I mean, there's other, the competition out there has got more speed than we have, but they don't handle in the corners. They don't go through the corners, and and of course, we've been at it for quite a few years here, and we got some very experienced drivers out there with some pretty good heads on their shoulders too. So they're not going to make any mistakes, or going to take care of their equipment. So we should be, hopefully we'll still be there in the end.
Here we catch up with Tom Bosick. He's always a strong contender, and he's one of the few that ride this race without the aid of a backup driver. He's now in third spot. Pierce is first and Hansen second. At the halfway point of the race, we know Troy Pierce continues to dominate this race with the XCR. Steve Hull, who was clinging to second, experienced some trouble that put an abrupt end to his race day. Steve sure looked disappointed. He's a veteran of the Sioux, and like many others, has longed to be in the winner's circle. Steve wasn't the only driver disappointed. Todd Crickey's XCR broke a chain that took out his chain case. Wow, it sure looks pretty nasty. By the 300th lap point, Pierce was still first, Tom Bosick second, and John Wick was third. Last year's champ, Ivan Hansen, was fourth, and Craig Wellman, number 13, was riding fifth. The top 5 sleds were Polaris. 6th, 7th, and 8th were held by ZRT riders Mitchell, Edwards, and Tom St. John, respectively. The plows came out at the 340-lap mark for the last grooming of the day. The finale of the Soo I-500 was begging to be set into play. Number 57, Troy Pierce, was holding a 6-lap lead over second-place runner John Wick. Tom Bosick continued to ride his XCR in third place. Ivan Hansen held down fourth. Fifth was Steve Mitchell from Cat House Racing, and fellow Cat racer Tom St. John was sixth. The top 6 running order went unchanged until Steve Mitchell moved his ZRT into fourth place at the 400-lap mark. Craig Wellman, number 13, also moved up to fifth place in his Polaris. Number 1, Jamie Vincent, pushed the Team Chippewa Yamaha into the top 10 and was running ninth. The number 96 sled of Ken Manning was flipped by Steve Hansen, who had joined up with the ATM racing team, and we asked Steve what happened.
I had no brakes going into turn 1, and a couple guys slowed way down in front of me. I didn't have no way to slow down, so I had to hook the bank on the inside and rolled it over, avoided running into the back end of them. Had nowhere to go.
For the next 90 laps, the top 10 virtually remained unchanged. Dana Payne, riding the Pierce-built XCR, continued to hold the lead for Team Feltsky. Between Troy and Dana, they had been in first spot for 404 laps, currently holding a 3-lap lead over second-place runner John Wick. Third was Tom Bosick, fourth, Craig Wellman. In fifth place was number 6, Tom St. John. Seventh was Ivan Hansen. Steve Mitchell was now riding in 8th spot. Mike Gentz, 9th, and rounding off the top 10 was Jamie Vincent on the Team Chippewa Yamaha. On lap 491, the storybook run of Troy Pierce and Dana Payne came to an abrupt interruption. Steam and smoke erupted from the sorry XCR. Could it possibly be? Could the 6,000 fans who cheered him on all day believe their eyes when our current leader came by the start-finish line chugging and smoking? Troy's aspirations for an eminent win dwindled quickly as John Wick now started to close the gap very fast with the AN-built sled. To add to the confusion of the few remaining laps, third-place runner Tom Bosick was black flagged for a broken ski hoop, which sent him back to the pits for an on-schedule stop. As the tow sled came out on the track to pull in our dwindling leader, the XCR came back to life. The crowd went crazy to see the return of the dead sled, but oh, too good to be true. This was definitely the last mile this sled was going to run here. Dana tried to restart, but realized the engine was now seized solid. It was over for the number 57 sled of Troy Pierce. With only a few short laps to go, number 52, John Wick, pressed his machine around this rough track. When the checkered flag came out, it flew high for number 52, John Wick. This was John's fourth solo Soo I-500 win. For John, it was a ride that lasted 7 hours and 40 minutes. There he is. He's going to take that checkered flag for a little ride. John was so exhausted he couldn't return the sled for the standard victory interview. The sled and team were loaded onto a float and paraded around the worn-out track. We did have a chance to talk to John Wick Sr. about this unexpected finish.
I'll tell you, we had highs and lows, you know. Of course, we come here to win, and of course, it looked like Troy was going to get it handled, and he ran good, and he really earned to win it, you know. And of course, he had that problem, which allowed us to get in the winner's circle, and we're loving it. Boy, if it wasn't for Olaf, why, we may not have this win, you know. He really did a job on that motor, and of course, we use his pipes, and we're on the phone quite a bit with him too, you know, to help in the engine. Other than that, you know, we basically run this Polaris pretty much stock, XCR stock, the way we get it from Polaris.
That's one big win for you Polaris fans here in the Soo. Olin's gas shocks from A&P Performance. When the going gets tough, the tough get Olin shocks. And what does John Wick have to say about one of his favorite A&P Performance products?
Olin's gas shocks. When it comes to shocking, nobody beats Olin's. This shock won me the World Series of Snowcross and 2 Soo 500 victories.
A&P, where you can buy tomorrow's technology today. For a current A&P Performance snow catalog, call 414-552-8981.